Hello, I'm Pete Prebus here in Tucson, Arizona, and have the privilege of meeting with Sushil Reddy from the SunPedal Ride and Luis Fourzan. And they are passing through Tucson, Arizona, and have a chance to interview them here. So excited to learn more about their tour of solar electric bikes around the U.S. So first of all, Sushil, could you tell us kind of an overview of the tour itself, you know, the route, the miles, some of the challenging routes that you've gone through?
Sure. Thank you so much, Pete, for giving us the opportunity to share our experiences here. So me and Luis started this journey in August this year. And the route, basically we started in North Carolina. We went to New York from there. And then we started to cross towards west via Pittsburgh, Chicago, Minneapolis, Fargo, all through North Dakota and Montana, then Idaho, then Washington. So we reached Seattle on the west coast, and then all the way down till LA on the west coast. And then from Anaheim, we started going east again. And now here we are in Arizona. We plan to end our ride in Houston, Texas. Yeah, and it's been a great experience so far. Different landscapes, some challenges with the weather, the mountains, but overall it's been a fun experience.
Great.
Yeah.
And what's the total mileage that the tour will be?
Well, approximately 7,000 miles is what we are, a little more than that in fact. We haven't counted the exact miles, but approximately we think it's going to be more than 7,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Now, Sushil, you've done these tours, or basically getting the word out about solar electric riding before. Could you give us a brief rundown of the different tours that you've done?
Sure. So I started this project in India in 2016 when I did my first ride in the northwest part of India for 7,000 kilometers approximately. And then, so it became also a Guinness World Record for the longest journey on an electric bicycle. Somebody broke it already, so it's no longer a record. But after that ride in India, I did a similar one in France in 2017, in California from San Francisco to San Diego in August of 2017, and one with Luis in Iceland in 2018. And this one in the US now. Yeah.
Wow. What motivated you to do these kinds of tours? What's the inspiration for them?
Sure. So I did my energy engineering in India as my studies, and then I started working in the solar energy industry in India. That's when the idea came up in early 2016 to spread the word about this technology in a unique way. So showing the application of solar power and like clubbing it with electric bikes and healthy living as an overall cause. And the idea of doing it on such a medium of a solar power electric bicycle is to connect with people along the journey, showcase the bike itself, how it works, and just talk to people about the importance of clean energy in general, why it is important in today's times. That's how it started as a journey in India, and it was well received by a lot of people. It's been a great support from a lot of organizations and people as well, which is keeping it going so far.
Yeah. Great. And Luis, how did you get inspired to join the SunPedal Ride?
Well, I went to Iceland after I was working as a tax lawyer in Mexico. I decided to go into sustainability. I went to do a master's degree in Iceland, and that's when Sushil first invited me in 2018. I found the project very inspiring, so I told him to tell me of future rides, and he told me he had the idea of doing it in the US. Maybe in the future it could be done in Mexico too.
Yeah.
And it's now I'm working in solar energy, so this is something really interesting for me, and to connect people in the industry and learn about a lot of things that, for example, bike touring, e-bike touring, and now that we see that there's a huge rise in e-biking in the US, I think it's It's a way to try to replicate it in Mexico, for example, or in other countries. Yeah.
So this was your first like large tour, right?
Yeah. This was my first like touring experience that I've done, and it's been great so far. I've loved it. I've had only done a lot of mountaineering in the past and hiking, but never like a long adventure on a bike. Yeah.
So has it been fun?
Yeah, I have loved it. Also, visiting like a lot of the U.S. that I didn't know. I had been to most of the major cities that we've crossed, but never on a bike. The best part, I think, has been visiting small towns, talking to the local people, also getting help from the local people. A lot of people have helped us out. Yeah,
That's great. Yeah. So, so just to dive in a little bit more on meeting people along the way, what's sort of the structure of helping to spread awareness of solar and electric bikes?
Sure. So primarily, you see the bike, they have solar panels on them, and that's kind of attracts people wherever we stop. So that's the first question that people have. They come to us and start talking to us about what are solar panels doing on a bike, and that's how the conversations begin on the road. So that's when the first connect with the people is regarding the bike itself. Then the conversation start about, okay, you can use these solar panels for your households, for other applications. So that is the first kind of structure of raising awareness. And then we are also visiting universities along our journey. So a lot of students are really interested to learn about how this kind of a bike is built, how it works. So students are really keen to know, being the younger next generation. I think for them it's important to also get into clean energy faster and earlier. And also a lot of like we have met some e-bike shops or companies. So that has been a good experience to just share our experiences of the journey and of the bike with them as well. And also we visited like e-bike sharing companies. For example, Divi in Chicago, we met their team, the operations team over there. Rad Power Bikes in Seattle, we met their team as well. So it was a good experience just sharing with the community of the e-bikes in general.
So as far as the technicalities of things, how much does the solar panel contribute to your ride here?
Yeah, just to give you rough figures, I'm carrying 100 watts of solar power. So each of the solar panel is 50 watts. And I have a battery which is constantly being charged with the solar panels. It is of capacity 300 watt hours. So again, it depends on the sunlight, but so far what we have seen is on a good sunny day, I can get an extra 40 miles approximately just with the solar panels. So that is something which we have seen approximately in terms of numbers. So I would say around 30 to 40% of the energy is coming from the solar panels. Rest of it I need to just plug it in. I'm carrying a wall charger as well. So I try to top up with the wall charger depending on how much distance we have to go for a day.
Okay. And then, Luis, you are riding just a regular electric bike, but it has double batteries. And so how much range are you seeing with the double batteries, I guess, depending on the terrain that you're riding on?
Yeah, I usually see like 100-mile range in eco mode. If it gets hilly, that will reduce to about 60 miles. Yeah.
And then sometimes you do charge like in the middle of the day if you need to?
Yeah, especially on the hilly areas that we're trying to cover around 80 miles a day. So we have to charge at least my bike. That's the one that usually is getting a bit more, like less range, like 60, 50 miles. Yeah.
So was there an idea to have like the one solar electric bike and then the traditional electric bike? Was it sort of just to compare them?
Yeah, exactly. So we are trying to collect some data from this bike. We have a console called Cycle Analyst where we try to gather data about the output of the solar panels on a particular day, and at the end of the ride, hopefully we'll try to retrieve that data and see how the solar panels performed better or worse compared to the normal electric bike. So that is also one of the aims of the ride, to get some data and analyze it later on, so that it can be used for improvements later on. Or that's one of the reasons why we have two different bikes.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. As far as the specs of your bike, do you want to just talk about the motor that you've got? And we've already talked a little bit about the batteries, but just the motor and how you decided to go with this configuration.
Sure. So when I was planning this ride, I kind of had an idea of how much solar panels I need, how much battery would I be comfortable with, or how much motor power would I require. So considering those factors in mind, I reached out to Grin Technologies in Canada, Justin. Yeah. So I knew Justin from the Sun Trip tour that he did on the solar bike, and I did that tour in 2017 in France. So there's a community of people there that I'm in touch with. So Justin has been very helpful. He said, okay, we can lend you a motor, a battery for the ride, and so there's a workshop in North Carolina called Soul Mobile, where these components were shipped to from Canada. Even the solar panels were donated, and this is like a cargo bike frame, originally a mechanical bike, so it's all retrofitted with these parts in the workshop. So I had a rough idea there in terms of design, and then Ryan from the workshop in Soul Mobile, he just put together all the components. That's how this bike was kind of custom made, and the motor capacity is approximately 1000 watts, but I never use that much. It's hardly like 200-300 watts that I use. Otherwise the battery gets drained just fast, so I try to mix it up with the mechanical effort and the electrical effort, so that I get the range for the day.
Okay, and then as far as speeds that you guys are traveling, what is the typical speed that you guys do in a day?
Depending on if we're on the interstate, we usually do 18-17 miles per hour in average. If we're doing the paths, we usually do 13 miles per hour. Yeah.
Cool. Let's get into the highlights of the tour. What has stood out to you, Sushil, as being just some things that were the highlight, and maybe some unexpected things?
First of all, very kind people who have been helping throughout the ride. So whenever we had a breakdown of the bikes, we always had somebody or the other available for help, or asking us if we need any help, stopping by in their cars, and especially in smaller towns. That has been a very kind gesture, and it feels good to have that support as well from people. Even sometimes when we were eating in restaurants, people used to just anonymously donate for our food after looking at the bikes, talking to us. So that has been the highlight. It's been a lot of help from a lot of people. And for me, it's a good experience to just get to know more about the US culture, the food, the people, the different states, the landscapes in different states. That has been, I'll take away a lot of things from this journey for sure. Yeah,
that's great. And Luis, how about you? What are the highlights?
Well, apart from the kind people that we've met through the journey, I think the really great infrastructure that we've been seeing in some of the states, especially Oregon, Arizona has amazing. We just confirmed it these days that we've been riding here. For example, the Loop. And I think those have been two of the greatest things that we had, as the highlights, apart from visiting a lot of towns, the really nice towns.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And how about the surprises? What was sort of the surprising or shocking thing along the tour?
Um, I don't know. So when I was planning this ride, I was a bit concerned about biking in the US when I had like this perception of like US being such a car oriented country and then I was like, okay, is it safe or not safe to ride a bike? But uh, but when I started biking here, there are so many nice. I was pleasantly surprised. Just so many nice trails, bike lanes. Uh, I never felt like uneasy or apart from maybe a couple of occasions, but overall it's been really surprising to see such nice infrastructure already in place. But it's also surprising to see we did not see too many people on these trails so far biking. So I guess more people could get on being active, considering that there's such nice infrastructure already built. That would be nice to see more people on the bikes in these trails, and yeah, I guess that was the surprising part for me.
Yeah. Okay. And Luis, how about you?
Well, I think that most of the people at first are sort of scared of getting out on the road on the bikes, and that is sort of a deterrent to start biking or touring. I think the best thing is just to get out, like map the trails that they have in the like neighborhood, and then just get on the bike and start doing it. Like this was my first touring experience, and at first I was uneasy about like how was it gonna be on the road. But right now it's been like I think 99% of the drivers have been very courteous for us. Like they always give us space. They tell us that they're coming or with a small honk or whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and then how about the most challenging parts of the tour?
For me, weather in Montana was a bit challenging. I come from Mumbai, and where it is even the winters are like super hot in Mumbai. So anything cold for me is a bit of a challenge. So we faced some cold days, snow in some parts in Montana. That was a bit challenging for me. Apart from that, it's been a good experience. No major challenges. Maybe the bike sometimes the things keep failing, the mechanical parts. I had a broken spoke in the first week, some shifter issues with the gear, so we had to keep, and a flat tire yesterday, so so we have to keep checking them every now and then. Those are the kind of like the usual challenges with the bikes, but I guess overall no major. Fortunately, the electrical parts, they're still working fine, so there are no issues there. Yeah.
And Luis, how about you?
Well, at first was like packing, knowing what to take and not what to take, and also just to get the exact weight that I will like not waste a lot of range and battery. And then also the hot temperatures in North Carolina. We were getting dehydrated there and very humid. It was really, really nice scenery, but it was very, very hot.
What advice would you have for somebody who wants to do some e-bike touring? Not necessarily to the extent that you guys are doing, but maybe just like a fun weekend or maybe a week of touring, maybe where they live or exploring a new area. What kind of tips would you provide somebody for doing something like that?
Okay, I would say anybody who's trying to get onto e-bike touring can start with looking for safe spaces in the locality. If they're not that willing to get on the bike on the road, maybe look for the trails nearby in the local community, or roads which are not very populated with cars, just to get used to the biking experience. And then from there, people can just start planning shorter rides every day. Maybe not too long of a ride, maybe 10 miles, 20 miles every day. And if that kind of mapping can be done initially, and people can start doing 10, 15, 20 miles, and they can start thinking of doing longer distances when they get used to those smaller distances of riding. And then once you start doing it, you know what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with in terms of what gear to take, or what jackets to take, how to layer up in different weather conditions, So I guess with experience, you'll come to know better what suits you in terms of riding.
Great, thanks. And Luis, from your perspective, this is your first big tour. Like, what kind of tips would you have for people?
Well, basically mapping the route, as Sushil said, to know exactly what are you going to expect, what type of trails you're going to follow. Is if you're like trying to go on only dirt or like mixed or just only on the road. It's better to map it in advance. Also, the stops that you want to be making. Also, depending on your range in the bike or how much do you feel comfortable of covering a day, trying to do the mapping the stops and like overnight stays in advance, just so you don't get out, or maybe carry a tent, and also the gear, like weighting it before, like with a scale, that's one of the most important things. And just mapping also the weather that you're gonna get, and just doing the weight. I did it before the weight in mountaineering, and I didn't do it for this trip, and I had some issues with it.
And you guys had some interesting weather you were telling me about. Where was that again that you were able to dodge some weather?
Yeah, that was Montana. We had some snow. Then we dodged by like one day in the Cascades, a blizzard that hit like for a full week. Yeah, we just crossed into Seattle area, and it was one full week in that area that I don't know how many inches of snow they got there, but it was. They opened the ski resort after that.
That's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Good to dodge that one.
And also we had Hurricane Ida when we were in Penn State area. But we stayed for one more night over there, let the rain pass, and then we started again. And then we faced a lot of rain again in Washington, Oregon area while we were crossing that part. We had all kinds of weather conditions, I think.
Wow, sounds like an adventure. Sushil, what are your thoughts on the future of electric bikes and the possibility of solar combined with electric bikes?
Okay. So electric bikes, I feel it's only going to grow a lot in the coming years. We also see it with COVID these days that people want to get out, not use much of public transportation, and also have an active lifestyle. And electric bikes help with being active, and you don't have to be physically very fit like a cyclist to be on an electric bike. Any age group is like open to get on the e-bike, get outdoors, still have an active lifestyle, be healthy. So that's what we are not super athletic people as well, me and Luis. So that's what we are also trying to talk to people and say anybody can get on an e-bike any time. So I feel e-bikes has opened up the active lifestyle thing for many people in different age groups, and it's only going to grow because things are getting affordable, especially e-bikes are getting affordable with the cost of batteries going down, which is the main cost component of the e-bike, the batteries. So I feel with costs coming down, maybe with people getting more conscious about healthy lifestyle in the coming years, and if people want to experience electric mobility in the most affordable form and the most active lifestyle form, e-bikes is a way to go. If you want to shift to an electric mobility lifestyle. So I guess, I think the demand for e-bikes, I feel it's only going to grow in the future. And even in India, where I come from, I see a lot of companies starting to launch new e-bikes in India as well, which is not a market that you think of initially when it comes to biking in India. There's not much of a biking culture, but it's growing. People have realized the importance of it in the last years, and then also there's a lot of funding investment into e-bikes in India as well. So I guess it's the overall scenario looks good for e-bikes in the coming years. For solar energy, it's a similar. When I talk about solar energy independently, the costs are coming down again with economies of scale, and the it's a long-term investment. If you're looking at solar energy as an investment for your household, for your industry, because solar panels have a lifetime of almost 25 years once you install them. And you get your payback in like 4-5 years. So considering the growing prices of oil and gas and the resources becoming limited, if you look at the economics over a period of 25 years, solar becomes definitely cheaper compared to conventional forms of electricity. So it's only a matter of time that people start realizing it and putting more solar as an option for investment in their lifestyle. And also costs have reduced a lot in the past 10 years for solar energy. So we see that, and also a lot of interesting business models have come up where in terms of financing, which is the deterrent when people think about solar energy. They think, oh, solar panels are expensive. But there are business models where as a client you don't need to pay upfront the entire amount. There's an external investor which comes in, and there are new business ideas. There's a public-private partnership possibility where you don't have to really invest a lot upfront. So yeah, I guess even solar, very good opportunities to grow. And when it comes to combining the both e-bikes and solar energy, I'll give you an example. We went to DV Bikes in Chicago. We visited their warehouse team, and they are trying to have solar panels for the charging stations, for e-bikes, e-bike sharing charging stations in the city. So that's what they are building at the moment. We just talked to their team, and so that is one application which we see, especially when it comes to charging of the batteries for e-bikes. Solar energy can definitely add that extra element of electricity and also save the costs of conventional electricity. And this can be like stationary charging stations for e-bikes in the city. That is an application of e-bike charging with solar energy is what we see. And also touring, of course, it's a very good application. If you are going long distance on an e-bike, you can carry a couple of solar panels. It gives a good enough top up, as we have been seeing in this ride. And it helps to save like the wall charging time as well. And it's an infinite resource, so I guess it's better to use it if you're going touring.
Definitely. Great. And Luis, what are your thoughts on the future of electric bikes and solar?
At first, like, e-bikes are for all. Like, it opens a lot of possibilities for a lot of people to go and enjoy the road. And I think it's a trend that it's not going to stop, especially because right now we see all these policy pushes with the tax credit to e-bikes, now the sustainable mobility policies that are coming out, and I think it's just gonna start evolving, and a lot of people are gonna start considering this like as a daily commuting option rather than using a car or public transportation, especially because this will be cheaper and more efficient, like in very high populated areas. I think this can get you really fast. And as Sushil told with the DBI in Chicago, that's a good alternative to like implementing solar and e-bikes using the solar chargers. But they're still in the working process of it. They haven't launched it. They have some solar charging stations, but only they do the lock of the bike and the electronic stuff there to rent and stuff, but they cannot charge that. I think it has to be this trend has to be started in other countries, like policy first. To start laying the tracks, to lay everything there, and then put the e-bikes on the road.
That's great. Great. So how can people follow along with the tour that you guys are doing? You've got some miles left to cover. So what's the best ways to follow you guys?
So we have a website, www.thesunpedalride.com. And we also do a lot of social media updates. On Instagram, me and Luis, we are most active over there. And even on Twitter, LinkedIn, I do a weekly update on LinkedIn. Twitter, we have the hashtag the SunPedal Ride, so people can follow the journey updates over there as well. And Facebook, we keep updating there as well. So all these links can be found on the website as well, the social media links, and people can follow the journey there. Yeah. And also on Strava, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and then how about the sponsors of the tour? Let's cover those.
Yeah, definitely a big thank you to a lot of organizations who have supported us. So to name the sponsors, we have Mitsubishi Power Americas and Oridon, who are the main sponsors of the ride. So Oridon is a renewable energy company based in Pittsburgh. They are a sister company of Mitsubishi Power Americas. Radisson Hotel Group is our accommodation partner. They have been helping us with giving accommodations in some hotels along the way. We have Octopus Energy based in Texas. They are an electricity service provider. They only source out clean energy for their customers. And they are actually a UK based company. They are expanding it in the US. So we'll be meeting them in Houston, where they're planning an event in the end when we finish our ride. We have some coupons from DoorDash for food. So they have been really nice to give us some donations for food. And of course, a big thank you to the workshop who has helped me to build the bike, and even Luis's bike was donated for the ride by a group called E-Bike Lovers in Washington DC. Okay. It's run by Gregory Mason. And we have been donated tires by Schwalbe. The Otley bags were donated as well. Quadlock donated us the locking mechanism for the phone. Yeah, a lot of parts were donated. We had shower spas, jackets in Oregon. We stopped there in Portland. And they said they're launching there also an electric bike soon. A lot of people have helped us a lot. So I think that just keeps us motivated to do the ride and spread the word more as much as possible.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate the time, and fun to follow along with what you're doing. And I think it's great to, spread the word and ideas. And what better way than to enjoy it, riding along and, helping to really make those conversations happen. So, appreciate you stopping in Tucson, too. Great to see you.
Thank you so much, Pete. I've been following electric bike reports since some time, so good work with that, because it just helps to build the online the community of e-bikes as well. It just spreads the word about what everybody is doing on a single platform. So great work by you as well, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys. Thanks.